resume from where we left so far. So in this topology, so we have made all these things. The first part is done. We have configured for us, or we have promoted the Windows SDC as a domain controller, and we have joined the client S1, which is the Windows client, to the domain. So now let's move into the next one, which is routing and remote access. So as I said earlier, routing and remote access services is a part of a Windows service. So yeah, there won't be any issues when we are going to do with SDC. We can enable the remote and routing and remote access services, and we can configure site-to-site VPN. However, when we go to the C server, which is a Debian server, we don't have a routing and remote access service because it's a Windows based service. However, we have services which can be equivalent to that to do that. Okay, so actually routing here is when we say routing and remote access service, what we are asking the server to do is to act as a router. So we are asking, right, sorry, so we are asking this server to act as a router here so that it could forward the packets to the other networks, right? And the remote access service is where we use services like VPNs and other things. So precisely here our requirement is to create a VPN tunnel between these two networks so that they are not on a public network, they are not um, going on an open network, right? So in that case, here we can use RRAS services, which is a remote routing and remote access services. Here we can also do that, but it is not a routing and remote access services. We can use IP forwarding, and we can manage the firewall settings so that we can enable this network as well to forward the packets outside the network. So typically here we are not going to do a routing and a remote access service because it is not a Debian or a Linux service, but we are going to work on things which are equivalent to RRAs in Windows. Why we had this as a task for you is to understand the difference between the Windows server and its services and a Debian server or a Linux server and its services. In such way, if you get that understanding, you would know that, oh, routing and remote access service is not an option in a Linux server. So we want to go for something equivalent to it to do the same task. So we are going to do that, as well as we are going to configure the site-to-site VPN to this 1C network, which means typically we are going to create a tunnel between these two um, interfaces, and then we are going to forward the packets over the network so that both this network and this net so both this network and this network can talk to each other. So as you all know that we have different network adapters in different spaces. So this is a VMnet 0, this is a VM1, sorry, it should be VM2. Just quickly going on here, settings, I think we discussed that, yeah, it is VM2. We discussed that in our other one. So this is VM2 network, and then this is VM3 network. So typically we are in three different network. We are connected with three different network adapters. So after this end of this configuration, these two tasks which we are doing, where we configure the routing and remote access services and the site-to-site VPN in both uh, the networks, the Windows network and the Linux network, you'll be able to ping both the networks successfully. Okay, and on a VPN tunnel, not on a public network. Okay, kind of a security or best practice options we are going to work on. So here we go with our server. So the server is here. I have two users created already. We can create another user which we'll be using for VPN. So let's say VPN user, then VPN user, next password. Uh, I don't want to change the password, and the password never expires. All right, typo. Right, brilliant. Okay, so let's go back to our server where we are going to add roles and features. So we are going to add remote access. It's here. Uh, features are here. The role services is direct access and VPN and routing. So these are the things. This is called routing and remote access services in a Windows. We activate it. Pretty much everything is selected and we install it. So while we install it, it will take its time. It will install. Then let's move on. But at the same time, we will go to login here. Right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create um, an SSH connection rather than working in the CLI of the Debian machine. I would like to create SSH version, SSH connection, so that I can, the better way to copy paste kind of thing. So here you could see that I have a NAT network, so that is what I'm going to use here. So SSH, my username, at 168.7.29. Here we go. This is for the password, and we are inside the Debian on a SSH connection. So it could really allow us to work in a a flexible way to copy paste from anything, any configurations which we have in our current network. I mean, whenever we are working, like if you want to copy an IP address and if you want to paste it kind of thing, yeah, I can do that. Okay, so I'm keeping this ready, just seeing that it is still getting installed. So while the server is getting installed, let's go back with our Debian machine and let's start working on the Debian. And then once the Windows server is done, then we can continue with the Debian with the Windows as well. Okay, so what are we going to do here in our Windows? Sorry, in our Debian machine, we are going to work on pptp, which is a point-to-point tunnel tunneling protocol. That's what pptpd is. So whenever you're going to work on a service, make sure that your packages are updated. So all the packages are up to date, because frequently I'm doing up to date. And then let's go and check if we have the pptpd service which is enabled. There are different ways for you to check whether pptpd is installed already or not. So you can just go and type in and configure pptpd, and if you don't see anything, then it means that pptpd is not installed. Sudo system CTL status. So it says that pptpd service is not found, which means that pptpd is not installed yet here. So let's go sudo apt install pptpd dot, yeah, NOSS. So I don't want to ask I don't want the Debian to ask me whether I want to approve everything, so I just give S everything. So now you could see that I have my pptpd installed. So status pptpd. So now you could see that the pptpd is disabled, which means we haven't configured anything here. So let's go and configure pptpd sudo nano etc config file. So how do you find this one? Why do you need to go into pptpd? Do you have pptpd? So you can just check it, cd etc list. So here you could see that there is a pptpd options here. If you haven't installed, before installing, if you check, you don't have it. So all the configuration files are present in the etc directory, right? So let's go and do a nano, open it with the nano editor and pptpd config. So this is the config file. Anything which is with the asterisk here is disabled. So if we go down here, you can see that you have local IP addresses. So the local IP I'm going to give, that's 192.1. That's a local IP address which I'm going to use. I'm going to tell that this is the IP address which is being used locally. This is the local point here. And then I can go and say root IP something in this range, 192.100. Just give 200. So this is the range of IP addresses which it will be using when it is going to send the packets outside. Save it and you enter. So which means we have now configured the local IP address, which would be the Debian's VPN interface. So here the Debian's VPN interface would be this one, which is 192.168.2.1. It is always best practice for you to use a different pool of IP addresses. That would be really good for you to use, so that what happens is it is not overlapping with the existing one. Okay, so that is for you to understand and work out. So that's a point where I would say don't just follow my videos where you just type in what I'm typing. It's not going to work that way. Okay, I'm just giving you those videos for your understanding, and after that, after your understanding, you have to improve with the best practices. You know the difference between average work, good work, excellent work, and exceptional work, right? um Right, so now let's go and configure. Yeah, by the time here you could see that the installation progress completed, but anyways, we will finish here and then go over to the Windows Nano, and then I wanted to go and configure the passwords, right? So etc ppp, that's where I have my chat secrets. So here are my chat secrets which I have. So this is where I go and configure my secrets, which is my passwords. Okay. So here the client is going to be, so what I'm going to do is my client, I'm giving a name for my client. I would say this as a C server. So let me say it as C server VPN. I can give any names here. It's up to you whether you want to give the same name or a different name you want to use. It's up to you. And then the server I'm going to do is pptpd. And then the secret is, this is the passkey I'm going to use. And then the IP address, I would say any IP address asterisk, which means it could accept anything. So these are the secret files which I'm going to give. Control X, Y, save it, and it is done. So pretty much we have done the basics here, right? So we have configured the VPN, point-to-point tunneling VPN at this point. So it is just for your understanding. Again, point-to-point tunneling VPN is just for your understanding. However, in an industry, in a real-time environment, will we be using pptpd? I would say no, because it is not secured, it is insecure, um, it is kind of a legacy one. On a security perspective, no, it is not. Okay. However, you can still work on this. You can still configure pptpd, point-to-point tunneling, to help you understand what the concept of VPN is. And then if you wish to add more to it, if you want to go for a secured VPNs connectivity, yes, of course you can go to that. You can try different ways of it. You can use iKey with the same routing and remote services, or you can use some external tools like OpenVPN or WireGuard kind of thing. So I will try to demo that one as well if time permits. Let's okay, so we have configured VPN here. So with this we will stop here. We will go back, configure our server, and then come back with the IP forwarding things in the Linux machine. So yeah, you go here, you can get started at this point. So you can use this wizard to click on deploy the things, but usually I don't prefer using a wizard, so I just go routing and remote access here. So you could see that the services are up here, and you have to configure and enable the routing. Next, so whether if you want to do a remote access or a NAT, or both VPN and NAT, or a secure connection between two private networks, it's up to you. If you want to do multiple, more than one, then it would be preferred for you to go for custom configuration. I do custom configuration, VPN access. I want to create a demand dial, can even do a LAN routing as well. These are the services which I want. So if you want further more services, you can still go and configure it on a later stage. So it asked me to start the services. So let's start the services. So this is what we did. So now you could see that the green arrow is there. It's changed green. So it is the same thing what we did in our Debian machine, where we configured a VPN. We haven't connected it. If you try to connect it, it won't connect. Okay. So let's go to the network interfaces. Before that, let's go to the port. Right click, go to the properties. Because we are using pptpd, click on the pptpd, configure, make sure that the inbound and outbound, the demand dial routing connections, inbound and outbound, are selected or checked in. Apply. Okay. Go to the network interfaces. Right click. You're going to create a new demand dial interface. Next. So here, just for me to avoid confusion, just give the same interface name, C server VPN, connect using VPN. Yes. Here, yeah, this is what. So I'm going to select point-to-point tunneling protocol, PPTP. If you want to do a L2TP, you can do it. If you want to do a, you can't do a L2TP, I'm not sure, but if you want to do an iKey, you can do that as well. It is a bit more secured to work on it. So here we have to give our host name, which is the IP address where you are going to connect with. It's 10.0.0.2, that is this interface. So this is the interface which you have to connect from here. So that's the interface you're giving here. Next, add user accounts. Next, add the network here, which is 192.168.2.0. Then it is 255.255.0. The metric, you can give anything between 1 to 255. 255 is the highest one. Next, password for your VPN. And password. So the username you are going to give here, it is for dial-out credentials. Okay, supply the username and password to be used when connecting to a remote router. So the other router which you are going to use. So I would give C server VPN and then password. So this is the one for the remote router if you want to connect dial out to the remote router. Okay, and then you finish it. So it would take yeah, so here you have your site-to-site VPN. So you have your site-to-site VPN here as well. So if we go to sudo system ctl status pptpd, see that it is still disabled. We haven't enabled it. So we have to enable it. We have configured it. We haven't enabled it. So we have to enable it. Okay. So once we enable it, and then we can look at it. The same way when here it is disconnected, we haven't connected it. Once we connect it, it will be on. So here, let's go to the properties here. So here in the options, you have to give a persistent connection because the connection is going to be persistent. Yeah, it is point-to-point tunneling, and then okay. So yeah, you can start it. So let's go here and then sudo system ctl restart t and sudo system ctl enable pptpd. So now let's see the status here. Now you could see that it is enabled and the point-to-point tunneling server is on, and it is on. So let's go here and try to connect it. Wow, and see it is connected, which means now we have literally configured the site-to-site VPNs. So we have done the site-to-site VPN here, as well as we have done the site-to-site VPN here. So we have partially done the remote and routing and remote access, but then if we go here and try to ping 192.168.1 dot, sorry, 2.10, and here you go, it started pinging from this end, and if we go from this client to ping 192.168.1.1, which is the other network, it is not paying because it is because we have enabled routing services on Windows Server, but we haven't done it in our client. So I mean in our Debian machine. So we have to now enable or we have forwarding here in the client. So let's go and enable IP forwarding. So here sudo nano c systemctl.conf. You know how I'm getting these files and details. You know, it is a directory. You can go and look at the directory. Everything is stored in here. And here, if you can see, then uncomment the line to enable packet forwarding for IPv4. So this is the command which you have, and this is what you have to enable it, so that you can have you can enable IP forwarding. So that's it. Control X, Y. But you have to make sure that this changes is applied. So even after the reboot, you will be having it. Okay. So for now, let's check if it's forwarding. It's still not forwarding. Okay. Let's troubleshoot it. But before that, a very important thing you have to do is system ctl -b, which means you are making um, the configuration persistent. Okay, it says that requires an argument. What argument it is? Let's say, and go here. X. Okay. It's sys ctl b. Yeah. So we have made our IP forwarding. We have just enabled our IP forwarding here in our machine, and then what we have to do here is to manually root. So we say that 192.168.1.0/24, and it has to go by 10.0.0.1. So 10.0.0. So what this one does is we are adding a route to the Debian network to tell that if anyone is here to reach 192.168.1.0, the Windows network, this is the way you have to go. Okay, so 192.168.1, and here we go. So we can now successfully ping. Okay, so this is what this is how we establish our site-to-site VPN and IP forwarding from within the both networks. So which means here at this point we have completed these two parts as well. So we have done routing and remote access services, and we have configured site-to-site VPN. The same way here, we have equivalent to arrays to do things, and we have configured the site-to-site VPN as well. So this is done. So next, what we can do is we can work on the firewalls, but before working on the firewalls, I wanted to do a demo on the PowerShells, Windows PowerShells, so that it is I'm planning to do my firewalls in both the server, the Windows, and my client, my Debian, using PowerShell script. I mean, the Windows, at least the firewalls using PowerShell scripts, and here we can use IP tables or firewalls, right? So we will do that in our next